Hello, my name is Ryan Merritt, and I'm here with a status update on my major controversy research paper. The topic that I chose for this research paper is the use of atomic weapons on Japan. I came to this topic because I've always found World War II very interesting. I own multiple books from both American and German authors covering different aspects of the war, but I've never really spent much time learning the Japanese perspective of the war. And I thought, what a perfect opportunity to use one of the biggest controversies around the entire war in the use of atomic weapons. I found a lot of my sources through ProQuest and the library. ProQuest was a good spot for me, especially the length of time that this controversy has been out there, 60 plus years. There's plenty of source material out there. Two different cases actually led me to where my ProQuest source also mentioned books that I can use for this. So those are a couple books that the library does own and I'll be obtaining and can add to my source list. At the moment, I have 7 ProQuest sources for journal articles, and then I have 3 books that I want to use for this project. I'm also hoping to find one more source to include the Japanese perspective on the war. I think that's important since I'll be covering a lot of different American perspectives. I think it would be good to include something from Japan as well, so we can see how they felt then after it happening, and then if that's changed at all today. So as far as progress on the actual paper, I have a lot of notes going through each and every one of my sources, and I've kind of crafted that into an outline that I can use and build upon for my rough draft. I think my introduction into this topic will be very similar to the one that I used in the annotated bibliography, kind of introduce this major controversy, the use of atomic weapons on Japan, and why it's important. Thesis statement, I have a pretty decent thesis question, I believe, for this paper that I'll be able to utilize. And then for the body of this, I try to focus on 5 major topics that I can talk about that all tie back into this major controversy. The first one being, why were the atomic weapons even an option? Kind of go through the status of understanding why this was an option, and maybe make mention of the Manhattan Project, in that one of my sources actually references the fact that we had a huge financial investment in the Manhattan Project, and there was almost a push to see the final, fruits of the labor be used. Topic 2, were there any alternatives for this? So kind of walk through different alternative measures. Could we have waited them out? Could we have invaded and continued the firebombing that we are currently doing? Or could we have just simply involved Russia to help us come to a quicker conclusion and not cost a lot of Russian or American lives? Topic 3, kind of walk through, was this calculated or weighed against other options? So taking the use of nuclear weapons on one hand, and then any alternatives that we discussed. Did we calculate our options fairly? I know that I have one source that suggests that false information may have been given to the Truman administration regarding casualties if we were to invade. And, they point to a lot of inflation of numbers, so I think that'll be a good one to discuss for a little bit throughout the body paragraphs. Another topic is, did the people of the U.S. support this? So I do have some sources that outline, the opinions back in 1945 and then into the 50s that, offer percentage of American support. I'd like to compare that to the 50th anniversary, 1995. There was a lot of studies done to see if we still measured up the same as we did then. And then topic 5, I'd also like to include the Japanese perspective on this. I need to find a source still for this, but that's something I'm currently working on today, and I'm hopeful I'll find something out there. Similar to the American perspective, I want to discuss how they felt about it then, when it happened, 45 through 1950, and then today. Is there anything current 1995 on to today that shows a differing opinion on that? I think that'll be important to include in this paper. Conclusion for it will be just summing up the finding from the above topics and remain neutral while I do so. I'm going to point out the difficulties that this decision had when making it, and try to go through the reasoning for this still being a major controversy today. That's my progress report, and thank you for listening.